are going to call yourself Black, don't just be Black, be great Black ones.
Right.
Our ancestors are called the perfect dark ones,
Yes.
because they were perfect dark, perfect Black. The great dark ones are the ones who came after the perfect dark ones. So you are from the lineage of the great dark ones, or the great Black ones. So whenever you say Black, you don't just say Black, you say great Black ones. So you have to add great to Black every single time you say the word Black. Add the great Black one, or great Black, because you need to stop being average and you need to start being great Black again. So
greetings, family. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. As you can see, we have our teacher in the house. We have Brother Mitri in the house. He has come to teach, and wow, what a session he has in store for us. It is part 2 in our series. So first of all, let's welcome and greet Brother Mitri. Welcome, Brother Mitri. How are you?
I'm doing good, sister. The one who comes in peace is always welcome. The one who comes to teach is always welcome. The one who comes to learn is especially always welcome. Positive energy and creation energy to you and the entire family.
Positive energy right back at you, beloved, right back at you. In case you missed session 1, family, please do go back and check it out by our brother Mitri. He is our teacher, born and raised in West Africa, Liberia, migrated to the US. He is the founder of Organic Afrikan Paradigm, and he is giving us a whole new way of thinking. What he says is that, you know, we have been indoctrinated with a particular perspective about Black, and he's coming to de-colour-nise that perception, that illusion that has been indoctrinated into our mindset, that we have ingested and digested, and he then is going to re-colour-nise our perspective on Black. There are many of us who are walking around today with an aversion to Black because, you know, we have been given a particular way of seeing Black in today's society. But when you hear Brother Mitri, when you watch session 1, family, you're going to be coming away seeing the power of Blackness, the importance of Blackness, the importance of darkness, and what it does to us as humans, the animal kingdom, the planet, and the world. And when you begin to look at Black within the context that our brother Mitri has laid out for us, family, you will never see Black in the same way again. So I'm really excited about the part 2, but check out part 1 that lays the foundation. Going straight over to Brother Mitri for part 2.
Okay, I'm going to put my screen up for you. So today what I have for you, let me put this on slideshow mode, okay? So do a quick recap. We are on the color psychology for Africans, developing a color psychology framework for Africans. We are de-color-nising you, and then we are re-color-nising you, basically reintroducing you to the African perception of color in the universe, as opposed to the European perception of color. So what do you see as an African? There are 3 keys you have to understand, 3 keys of understanding all knowledge in the universe. Once you know these 3 keys, you will never be lost or colonized again. Know the difference between reality, know the difference between the tools, and know the difference between the illusions. The illusions are ideas that are projected from another human being's head, mouth, and they're projected onto you. If you absorb those ideas, you ignore your own ideas, those ideas ferment in your brain and you project them outward and you externalize them. So they become self-harm, or they cause harm to you. So I explained to you the story of the universe, that despite the idea that Europeans think that darkness is the evil, they do not run from it. They explain the universe through it. They don't, they tell Africans to beware of it, but they master darkness. So where does the black or the dark fit in the universe? It is the universe. It is spirituality. It is the feminine principle itself, the divine mother, the original mother that existed before every other mother. So this is where blackness fit in. Now, if your blackness is not properly understood, your social culture can be destroyed, your economical culture can be destroyed, your political culture can be destroyed, your intellectual culture can be destroyed, and your spiritual culture especially can be destroyed. So that is why we are preparing you for the color psychology. We are taking the dictionary's definition and reorganizing it for the African people. Go to session 1 and take the proper definition for blackness, take away the hate, take away the negativity from it, and take the positive aspect of it and make that who you are. So Europeans, when they put in their search engine black, they show you darkness and blackness are one and the same. There's no distinction. So if you go and type in the word dark, black people show up. So there's no distinction in all this. We are the ones who think that they make distinction between darkness and black people, but they don't, So there are energies, the fundamental energy building block of the universe is dark matter and dark energy. And there are other types of energy that are black body radiation, which is what people use to power carbon and all those type of things. Planets, moons, suns use black body radiation. The body has to be specifically black for it to be able to emit that power, that energy. If it's white, it doesn't emit the energy. If it's green, it doesn't emit the energy. The body must be black for it to project energy into the universe. Okay? So in the universe, 80%, 85% of the universe is pure blackness, and the stars, the galaxies are just tiny pebbles of light in the universe. So black people, African people never shied away from portraying themselves as who they were. In all their images, they portrayed themselves as blackness. They were confident in their blackness. They loved it. They had names, titles for themselves, but they were not afraid of their color, their skin color, or their color psychology. So these images are meant to tell you that in Black history, Black people did not see anything wrong with themselves as in the color black. There was no evil with it, nothing. However, the history did pivot. So where did the history pivot for Black people to become the villain of history? The history pivoted during the Greek era. During the Greek era, the Greeks originally used to portray themselves as black in these paintings. Now, as time went by during their age, the Greeks started to change, and because they saw Black people more accommodating, more peaceful, more, less resistant, less challenging them, opposing them, they started to think of Black people as weaker people. They started to think of Black people as the people who couldn't rule the world, who couldn't govern the world anymore. And gradually, they started to steal the color away from Black people. That means that they started to change their art form. So originally, their society was majority Black, and then that society gradually started to turn white through the art, through the people themselves. So when Europeans came and they saw the Black paintings, they created a specific category. They say that Greeks they only had black ink at that time. They didn't have white ink. They didn't have, that's the excuse they make. They say, oh, the Greeks didn't have white inks. But if you look at everything after the era of Greek philosophy, right? Everything is white. The Greeks clearly could find white stones. They clearly could find white paint, but somewhere before the age of Socrates, the Greeks couldn't find white paint. They couldn't find white stones, right? I don't know where they got the white stones from, but they couldn't find nothing. But suddenly, after the time of Socrates, Alexander, everything became white. So this tells you that in order for the Greeks to assert themselves in the world, they had to reimagine themselves. They had to break free from the Black people whose shadow they were under for a long period of time. They wanted to break free, so they started to project themselves as they are. They changed all their art that used to be Black. They hid all the Black ones, and they brought the white ones. Now, this tells you that the Greeks didn't do anything in Egypt for sure, because the Greeks were going through a white phase. So everything they were building, their temples were white stones. Everything was white during that age. So everything in Egypt was not made out of white stones. It was still made out of the ochre stone, the tan stones. So it tells you that the Greeks didn't rule Egypt. The Ptolemy, Greek Europeans like to say the Ptolemy did this, the Ptolemy did that. They didn't do anything, because if the Europeans truly ruled Egypt, they would have made all the statues like this small little guy right over here, right? So the Greeks themselves, this is when they started to turn away from the Africans. The first naval battle in the year 664 BC, the first naval battle in Greek history between Corinth and, or whatever that word is, the Greeks after this age in the year 664 BC, they started to come up with this idea of freeing themselves from Black people. So it was through military might and through their own ability to see themselves as strong that the Greeks started to now reject Black people. From this point on, they started to change the artwork. They started to go from Black, making it white, making it white. And gradually, where you see in this picture here, the Greeks were fully Black. Give me one sec here. Where you see they are fully Black, everywhere they start to change it. So this is the entire timeline of the Greek history, starting from 660 BC, right? That was just about 2,600 years ago. The Greeks started to project themselves as white people. Until then, everything before that, they thought of themselves as Black. They wanted to be Black. They imitated Black people. They wanted everything about Black. But gradually, the Greeks started to change themselves. So it should tell us we are at the point in our history where we need to start changing ourselves, project the image we want, project the idea we want as Africans. So the tribal wars of the Greeks, out of this tribal wars where Black turned to white. By 540 BC, the Africans were turning towards a philosophy of pacifism. Why did the Greeks turn against the Africans? In Africa, there was an age in African history where Africans started to practice pacifism. Pacifism means a lifestyle of peace and philosophy and all those things. So the African people gave up on military, they gave up on power, they started to be peaceful, like Buddhist type of people. And because they started to behave this way, gradually the Greeks started to encroach, the Assyrians started to encroach. Every military European power started to come against them. So the idea is we cannot be a people holistically pacifist. We have to be a people with self-preservational ideas, fundamentally, and then we can have pacifism in certain aspect of our culture. But I would not recommend us to go down that road again of total pacifism, because we will end up back into slavery if we go back to being pacifists. So this is how the Greeks transformed their society. The people we call the Phoenicians, they used to be Black, and through mixing, because the Phoenicians had this habit of, they were Black sailors, but because they were sailors, everywhere they went into Europe, they took white women. And the more they encounter white women, the more that they started to breed out the Phoenician people. And the Phoenician people gradually turned light-skinned. The same way with the Canaanite, who are another branch of the Phoenicians, they started to go mix with the, take on white wives because they would travel so much. And those things gradually called the decolorization of the people. So that is Black in Greek history. Now let's go to South America. There is a group in South America called the Inca people. They're in Chile and all the coast there. So the Inca people have a god or a lord named Viracocha. And the Inca people say that Viracocha is described as a man, medium of height, white. He's a white skin color man, and he's dressed in white robe. And he taught them the mystery system. He taught them how to build pyramids. He taught them all the things that they have spirituality. Now, back in the time when our ancestors used to have the priesthood of Asar, the priesthood left Africa to go teach agriculture. So the priesthood, when you are initiated in a priesthood in Africa, you will wear the ash. This was the symbol that they wore. They would paint their skin fully white in ash, and they would wear a white robe. So and they would have the beard of Asar, the beard of Asar. So because of this, when in our culture before, when our ancestors perfected civilization, they were spreading civilization into the world, they went into Greece to teach the Greeks agriculture. The Greeks fought them. They resisted them, right? They wanted to eat raw meat. They wanted to drink blood. But our ancestors, through military might, were able to make them learn civilization by force. They went to India. They went to China. They went to South America. And this is where the idea of white men coming to civilize them. It's not Europeans, because if it was European, they would say pink men came to civilize them, but they said these white men. And we still practice this culture in Africa today. The priesthood used to travel back in the day, but now they stopped that culture of traveling. This is why in Asia, the priesthood will go into the community. They will walk the streets, and in their robes, they will beg for food. They will go from house to house asking for stuff because of this same culture. So the story says Viracocha came during the time of darkness, which would be way, way, way before Egypt, or way back in the day. That would be like 100,000 years ago, or probably longer than that. Viracocha came and he taught the people civilization. So there are, well, let me find some stuff here. So he brought the civilization to the people, basics of civilization. He was a wanderer disguised as a beggar, teaching his new creation the basics of civilization and numerous miracles. He walked on water because of the boat technology. So Africans used to travel by boat. They were the first people with boat. So the people believed that Africans were walking on water because of the boat technology. But, you know, again, these were not white men. These were just initiated priests of Asar who took civilization to the Aztec, to the Mayans. They took civilizations to all of them. So everything you see the Incas practice is African spirituality. Everything the Aztec practice is African spirituality. Everything that is practiced across the world, including India and China, is all African spirituality that were taught to them by white men. So how the idea of white men or white skin emerged is because of the ashes. White skin, the gods were painted white. Even in India, they painted the gods white, especially the god Shiva, who is supposed to be Asar. They painted him white. But if you see Asar is dressed in white, if you see Khonshu, Khonshu is dressed in white. This is Asar's younger body, and this is Asar's older body. They are dressed in white from the ashes that the priests wear. In Africa, the ashes, we still wear them today. This is a Dinka person wearing the ashes. These are priests in West Africa wearing the ashes. And there is a significant story to why Africans wear ashes. There is a story that has to do with agriculture, how the agriculture, all the forest that used to be in Africa was burned down, the origin of the Sahara Desert. Before the Sahara Desert used to be an ocean. There was a forest there. There were animals there. The Namibian desert was a forest full of life and everything. And there was a fire, a great storm that came, and this storm destroyed all the forest. And out of this forest, alcohol and Africans felt the initiative to create vegetation. Agriculture was invented because they could no longer rely on the forest anymore since the forest was destroyed. So the Africans invented agriculture. So that is what Asar represents. Asar represents that destruction, the killing of the forest that existed in Africa before the paradise, and then the burning of that forest. The forest was struck by lightning and it was burned into pieces, into ashes. So the Africans, in their grief, they wore the ashes of the dead forest. And that is how come the Africans believe that the ashes, out of the ashes rose enlightenment, or what we call endarkenment, knowledge, the teachings, the mystery, agriculture, astrology, all those things rose out of the ashes. So the priesthood wear the ashes as a symbol of being reborn. So Asar was resurrected from the ashes. Vegetation came back even though it was burned down. So that is where the white skin come from. That is where the white color come from. It has nothing to do with African people themselves hating their skin color or blackness is evil. It just means the forest was burned down. So black in Asia. I told you that the priesthood went to Asia and taught the people. So this is Mahakala in East Asia, the Sanskrit word for great black one. Okay? Asar is called the great black one in Kemet right now. If you look up Heru the Elder, you will see Asar is called the great black one, or Kimware, the great black one. And in Asia, the god of agriculture is called the great black one. In Japan, his name is Daiko-Kokten, meaning great black one. So the African people, when the priesthood left to teach the people, they still saw them as the great black ones. They saw our ancestors as the great black ones, the perfect black ones. And as the color psychology changed, they started to paint everything white. They started to reject the idea of blackness. So when we turn to pacifism and we start being the leaders of the world turned against our blackness. So that is why it's important for African people to return to their blackness and magnify it and make it the center of everything you do. You know, make it your power, and that is what we all need to understand. Remember, the concept of yin and yang is black and white. People look at it as darkness and light. And the yin is the feminine principle, as I said. But in Africa, the concept of yin and yang, or in Kemet, the concept of yin and yang is called hika. Two serpents, a masculine serpent and a female serpent circling around each other. This was the staff of Tahuti. The staff of Tahuti, that two serpent, there is the power of hika. Hika means duality, male and female, blackness and light. They got that culture from Africa because the priesthood, again, went there to teach them agriculture. So everything that has to do with blackness and the science of Africa comes from the priesthood going out to civilize the rest of humanity. Now, in Asia again, we see that the god Krishna, right, one of the most powerful god in India, there are three gods that are powerful. Shiva, right, which is supposed to be Asar, and then the other one is Brahma, which is supposed to be Amun, and then the other Atum, and then the other one is Krishna, which is supposed to be what you call Amun, the blue one or the black one. So this is still in their culture, but they don't know, they don't investigate, because African people have lost we lost that desire to be black. We lost the will to make our image, the image in the world. We stopped projecting ourselves into the world, and we let other people project themselves because of pacifism, because we want to be peaceful, because we want to be hermits. You know, we got to stop that. So all these images you see, these gods used to be black. Then during the time, the people changed them. When Europeans took control, or when white people started to take control of the world, naturally everybody started to follow them, and naturally everybody started to change. They repainted all the gods. So all these people are right on the pyramid walls. Every deity, even the deities in China, they're on the pyramid walls. Even the deity in the Aztec world, they're on the pyramid walls. The deities in India are on the pyramid walls. So it's a reminder to African people, again, one more time, I'm appealing to you. Blackness is not evil. Darkness is not evil. Rather, darkness is a feminine principle of Hika. There are two, He and Ka. Hika, he has to do with the dark principle. And Ka has to do with the principle of light. When you combine the two of them together, light is the material principle and darkness is the spiritual principle. So keep that in mind. So let's go to the Bible, Black in Religion. Now, the Christian Bible is my favorite when it comes to blackness because they like to portray blackness as the pure evil, right? But if you look in their Bible well, the first chapter it says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the face of the deep. Now, if darkness was evil, why was God hanging out in darkness? Why did God even create the heavens and earth in darkness? Why? You know, if something is evil, you don't create heaven and earth in that thing. You destroy it. You eliminate it completely. So their God in the Bible was living in darkness. The first thing he created was his earth and his heaven in darkness. Why? Why not create it in the light? What if darkness is evil, why did you create it in your heaven? The most beautiful place in the universe, heaven. You created it in darkness. Why would you do that? That's the question that Christians don't understand. So then we go down to more in the Bible. It says, God said, let there be light in the vault of the sky. So God creates light, but he doesn't create darkness. So in the beginning, darkness is there with God. However, God, in order for light to come into being, God has to speak and say, let there be light. So speak means sound. Sound means the movement of the wind. The movement of the wind would mean that the light, the sunlight would be able to come into the earth, atmosphere. So if God has to speak to create light, that means that light is the created, is the material. If God doesn't speak to create darkness, if darkness is just there where God is, then that tells you that what? Darkness is not evil. Rather, it is the source where heaven and earth was created. Now, if you go out in the Christianity religion, in order for the Europeans to thoroughly make Black people hate themselves, for them to colonize them, Black people, they had to use the idea of darkness being evil, right? They had to go into the Bible, use the spiritual idea. So they said, evil spirits are the power of darkness. You see, the same Bible that said in the beginning, God was hanging out in darkness, heaven and earth was created in darkness, yet the Bible turns around and says, evil in John 1:16 or something says, evil spirits are power of darkness. So why would God create heaven and earth in a place of evil spirit, in a place so-and-so? Why? What logic is this God having? The wicked will be cast into the darkness outside. Well, heaven was created in darkness. What was this God thinking? Creating heaven in a place of wicked, right? So clouds, heavy, and the Bible goes on to project its hatred for Black people in a pseudo language against darkness. So, and now here is the caveat of the Bible. So in the book of Exodus 18:21, the people, right? Now it says the people, now when all the people saw the thunder and lightning flashing, or the flash of lightning and the sound of the trumpet and the mountain smoking, the people were afraid and they trembled. They stood far off and said to Moses, "You speak to us, we will listen. But do not let God speak to us, lest we die." Moses said to the people, "Do not fear, for God has come to test you, and that the fear of him may be before you, that you may not sin." The people stood far off while Moses drew near the thick darkness where God was. Moses drew near the thick darkness where God was. Now let's go back here. And then you said, evil spirits are the power of darkness. The wicked will be cast into the darkness outside. But Moses, the people stood far off while Moses drew near the thick darkness where God was. Do you understand the contradiction? Why is God hanging out in a thick darkness? And why is his most favorite prophet going to meet him in this thick darkness? Yet the same Bible say the wicked, the this and that. So do not be afraid. God has come to test you. The people remaining at a distance while Moses approached the thick darkness. This is, let every Christian marinate on that one. Just marinate on that one. So the Bible and the night is the periods of ambient darkness. So basically I go through the Bible again, and at midnight I shall rise and give thanks because of your righteousness. So Christians wake up at midnight to pray. They say in the Bible, right? Darkness, night are the same thing. It's the source of evil. It's the place where the wicked go. However, the same Bible in Psalm said, at midnight I shall rise to give thanks to you because of your righteous ordinance, right? But about midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God. And why were Paul and Silas praying in an evil state of darkness? Why? And when I remember you on my bed, I meditate on you in the night watches. So the Christians spend a lot of time praying in darkness at night, night watches, night vigils, all type of darkness stuff they're into. Yet the same Christians say, I'm the light, I'm the child of the light, I'm the this and I'm the that. Yet their own book that says darkness is evil, oh Lord, I remember your name in the night and keep your law, right? His song of ascent. Behold, bless the Lord, the servant who serves by night the house of the Lord. We go back now to the same Bible here says, darkness is evil. Where does it say here? Evil spirits are the power of darkness. So night and darkness are the same thing. There's no difference between them. Okay, the wicked will be cast into this darkness. Why are your prophets, your most spiritual people, waking up to pray in the darkness? Why? Why? Yet they tell you, so this is that war that the people are waging against African people. It's silent war, yet, you know. So during the Christian era, when they came to colonize us, they used darkness as a means because we see ourselves as Black. We Africans, this is what you look like, regardless of how you feel. So in order for them to project that illusion into your mind during the Christian era, the Europeans, first thing they did what the Greeks did. They changed the definition of Black. So in European fashion in the 13th and 12th century, they said Black did not have any prestige. Black did not have the prestige of red, the color of nobility. So they changed the color of nobility. They started to take excessive pride in wearing white. instead of black because they wanted to brand black as the source of evil. So the black was now made the color of the devil, the color of hell, the color of death, the color of sin, while white represented purity, virtues, and innocence. So Europeans, before they came to Africa to colonize, they changed the color psychology. They came together and they said, we are going to make white this and we're going to make black this. So that means that me and you, how we are here together, they came together like that and they had a conference how to make white the superior color and how to make black the inferior color. And they succeeded coming into Africa. We didn't know anything about them. And then they tell us all these things about evil, blackness, and so and so. And we start to project what they projected into us. We absorbed it, and then we start to externalize the world. But these same people were preaching to us in this Bible, and they were saying, come spend the night in sackcloth, O minister of my God. Arise and cry in the night, beginning the night watches. These same people who went ahead and changed the color psychology so they could wage war, these same people were praying, teaching us to pray at night in the dark. So all this happened in 13th century. Then the devil was painted black, the Jesus was painted white, because they were coming to wage war. And that is how history was changed. And the black people who used to take pride in themselves, and they used to portray themselves as black, and black had a divine power to it, a divine blessing to it. It was the source of spirituality. The black became the non-spiritual side, and then light became the spiritual culture, which light is not the spiritual culture. Light is material. That means that money is light. Automobile, these are all light culture. Enlightenment means you have access to a lot of wealth. You know how to make money. That's an enlightened person. An endarkened person is a person with spiritual knowledge, a person who understands the deep spiritual intuition, the feminine consciousness, etc. So I'm going to end our lecture here today, but I wanted to show you all this aspect of blackness and darkness in how the history was corrupted and how it was projected into your mind, because people came together and wrote a new definition, gave the color a new definition, and we took that color. The thing is, we keep taking. It's just stop taking. The solution is stop taking, come up with your own definition, and then never back down from your definition. Do not change it for anyone or anything. Do not compromise it, and be stubborn as possible in your definition of who you are. Be as stubborn as a ram. And that will be the end of today's session.
Thank you so much, teacher. The teacher came to teach, and didn't he teach today? Wow, I learned so much from today's session. Thank you so much for that. And, you know, our teacher said that he's going to decolorize us, and that certainly has been happening on today's session. You know, you shed so much light for me on, you know, the process throughout history of how, you know, the color black that was synonymous with power, deity, pride, you know, and everything great was gradually changed. And it started happening with the Greeks. I think you said around 640 AD. Was it AD or BC? BC, about 640 BC with the Greeks. You know, these are the same Greeks that learned at the feet of the Africans. These were the same people who, you know, had no knowledge, no science, no anything, learned at the feet of Africans. And then after about maybe 100 years or so, decided that they wanted all of that knowledge and all of that power for themselves. And because they were such a warlike people, you know, and our people, as you said, were just so passive, you know, we just gave and allowed them to change, allowed them to take over, allowed them to integrate, first of all, I suppose, and then gradually take over. And to the point where, by the medieval period, you know, they were demonizing everything black. Wow. So, you know, obviously after the Greeks, the Romans inherited what they were doing, and then they took the architecture, didn't they, to another level. And all of these busts and ornaments and huge monuments, they took that to another level with their whiteness, and also destroyed, you know, much of the black architecture and monuments and sculptures that were there, didn't they? And here we are today, still running with the Greek and Roman definition and perspective of blackness. But you're here to change all of that, which
Yes.
is phenomenal, phenomenal. I mean, this is, you know, such important work, because as I said to you in the green room, you know, it comes up quite often on my shows in the chat about the color black. We shouldn't call ourselves black. We shouldn't call ourselves black. But, you know, that slide that you showed us of our Asian Africans and the pride that they took in portraying themselves as black, you know, the meaning of words that meant the great black ones, you know, from Asia to China to Africa, wherever we went in the world, created deities in our own image that meant the great black ones. So I'm really looking forward to what people in the chat have to say about now.
I will add something quick for you. If you are going to call yourself black, don't just be black, be great black ones.
Right.
Our ancestors are called the perfect dark ones, yes, because they were perfect dark, perfect black. The great dark ones are the ones who came after the perfect dark ones. So you are from the lineage of the great dark ones or the great black ones. So whenever you say black, you don't just say black, you say great black ones. So you have to add great to black every single time you say the word black. Add the great black one or great black, because you need to stop being average and you need to start being great black again. So that would be the solution for this.
Yes, indeed. Love it, love it. The great black ones. And so did you say our ancestors were the perfect black ones?
Yes, because they were the beginning of us. So they were perfect black ones. We are the descendants of the great black ones.
Making my notes here. Absolutely love that. So in future going forward, we're not just black family, we are the great black ones, the descendants of the perfect black ones. You know, I'm just loving this session so, so much. And, you know, they really have kind of served us a huge curveball, haven't they? Totally changed, you know, the paradigm, the outlook, you know, and our perspective on black. But look how majestic and how beautiful black is in nature, as you were showing us. And look at the pride that we had as being black, the great black ones. I'm loving it going forward. And so family, you know, as we heard today, it's an illusion. We have been given an illusion of what black represents. We have been sold this myth that black represents everything demonic and evil, but it was a construct. It was a work of art. And we now have to reverse that. So how, Brother Mitri, do we go about reversing, you know, this really wicked move that has been made against us over so many centuries?
The solution is black is spiritual. Black is the aspect of spirituality. It is the aspect of the innate. It is the aspect of where you get divine wisdom, intuition, knowledge. You go into the unknown and you extract knowledge. Light is your ability to manage your economy, your ability to manage your political, your military, all those things. When you are enlightened, you are able to do those things. Militarize yourself, do all those things, protect yourself. That's enlightenment. Endarkened means you are spiritual. You have a deep spiritual center, fortified. That means your spirituality doesn't come from other people. It comes from a force that other cannot conquer. So we need to go back to the hika, duality, darkness and light in harmony. When you say enlightened, know that you're talking about you are a master of knowledge of materialism, material world. When you are in darkened, you are master of the intuitive world, the spiritual world. So that's what you need to begin with. We need to take our definition and we need to affirm our definition and project it. Project the definition. Do not deviate from it. Project it, stay to it. And if they collide with your definition, let them collide. And do not back down. Do not explain yourself. Do not justify yourself. Simply exist in that state. That is the solution for every African. Accept it, exist in it, and don't justify it to others. Don't explain it to them. Don't care what they have to say about it. Just, that's it. That's the solution.
Wow, powerful, powerful. So we stated, claim it and exist in it. There was something else in your presentation that, I mean, there was so many wow factors for me, but another wow factor for me, I think, was when you was talking about dark matter and how the universe needs dark body matter to survive, which suggested to me that the universe cannot survive without us, the black magnificent ones, the black great ones. We give the earth the energy that it needs to survive. I wonder if you could just touch on that.
Black body radiation is any matter that is made of blackness, that contains blackness. So for example, melanin performs a function of black body radiation. But there are carbon charcoals, different type of diamond before it turns white or crystallized, it's a black body. Volcanic, basalt, all of these things are black body. Black body, because of their ability to take heat. So a lot of people think that melanin, it does the function of taking heat and then it makes heat into energy. What melanin does is it takes heat and it cools the heat down. So it keeps the cells from burning, frying, cooking. It cools it. So like at nighttime, you see the sun will be hot in the daytime. And then when the night comes, it cools down, right? Why does it cool down? Because that's what dark energy does. It takes the heat of burning things, and it cools it down. So it slows it down. It prolongs the life force of it. That's why you say black don't crack, because the heat is not burning your cells. What the heat is doing is your body is absorbing the heat, converting the heat, cooling it down, making it soft for you. And you take that heat, you're able to, you burn it up faster, use it into faster energy. And this is what black body radiation is. The moon does black body radiation, the earth does it. That's why the earth has carbon, that's why the earth has magnesium, cobalt, all these type of minerals that are black, basalt, because of black body radiation. So everything in the universe operates on black body radiation. That's why anything that has thermal energy, heat energy, is a black body. What we call light is the finished product of burning energy. You can't have light unless you take a black body and you burn that black body. And when you burn that black body very well, that black body emits a glow. The glow, the more the black body burns, the more the glow changes. So that is where black energy is, black matter is. That's what melanin is. It's its force that cools the energies down.
Powerful. Wow, we have so much power within us, in our melanin, in our dark matter, and we matter so much to the universe. Wow, we're learning so much about color psychology, already reversing a lot of the really negative and derogatory association that has been placed on Black. Now we're seeing the power of Blackness. So let me see if there's anything else. I mean, there was just so much that jumped out for me in the presentation that you was doing. Let me see if I've got one or two more thoughts for you. So, wow, yeah, they've done a good job, haven't they, on distorting, you know, our perception of darkness, dark energy, Blackness, etc. Now, and they start to do this on us from a very young age. Now, how do we reach the children and the young people with this level of kind of high intelligence information to make them from a young age proud of being Black, proud of Blackness, confident in darkness, in all that it contributes towards the universe and the world?
The way to help the children is that you will take the children to movies, you'll take them to go watch Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, and all that. And you need to be conscious that Europeans have their own projection of what Blackness is. And in the movie Harry Potter, they will call it the Dark Lord. They will call it the dark evil. They will always do that, right? You might take your children to entertain them, but always tell them that, no, that is not Black. The Black is not evil, right? Don't, you know, teach them, explain it to them. I'm not saying don't keep them from watching those movies, but make sure you don't let them absorb the idea that Black is evil and dark and white is good. Don't allow that to happen. Well, just explain it to them. When you walk out of the Harry Potter movie, you're in the car, explain it to them. Walk out of the Lord of the Rings movie, explain it to them. Anything explain to them that will solve the problem.
Absolutely agree with you. And this is what we need to do, be talking to our children so much more, don't we, to make sure that we're countering all of the negative forces about Blackness that's being projected at them. And the other really beautiful thing, I mean, there is so much, but the other beautiful thing that jumped out for me in today's session was when you said about darkness already existing, and that's where God was. That's where God chose to be. God chose to be in darkness. He chose to be in the black. He chose to be in the night. He chose to be there. Why?
You have to say she. If you're saying she, you have to say she when you say God chose to be in the blackness, because she is the blackness. So that would be the feminine principle.
Yeah, I need to train myself. So you need to refer to God as she.
So she chose to be in the blackness. She chose to be in the darkness.
She's the creator. She brought forth life. And it's the women who bring forth life. And she, from the darkness, brought forth life in the form of light.
Yep. And then the light is the material existence. So everything in this existence is the material, that's light. So when we master this existence, we are mastering political, economic, all these things are light science. Dark science is that, you know, mysteries of the universe. You're talking about those high knowledge, you know, that our perfect dark ancestors had. You know, those type of knowledge, that's that kind of knowledge.
And that's the side, really, that we don't pay enough attention to, because we have been conditioned to fear darkness, to fear night, as you were saying. But that's where the power lies. You're also reminding us of, the fact that there's so much power in that spiritual dark side. Because of the duality, we look at what is being manifested in the light and in the day, we can create so much more of that level from intelligence from the dark, but we have to master the dark first.
Yeah, and I will add to this, right? What the darkness tells us is that people have problem with us. We always very public. We tell everything out there, right? But the darkness aspect of us is that part that we keep intimate. It's the intimate part of us. We don't reveal to other people. So at nighttime, people do the intimate stuff and all those type of stuff, right? Yet nobody complains about those intimate moments. People look forward to those intimate movements in the night. However, where we Africans have fallen is that even though every night we come home to our family, we're, reaching in the dark, touching our spouses and all that stuff there, we are binding the same darkness that is giving us the cover for us to do those type of things. It is ridiculous, right? But also in the art of war, the Sun Tzu said, keep your plans in darkness and they will be impenetrable, right? Keep your plans in darkness. Darkness represents protecting your secrets, protecting your society, right? You're not going to go be telling your enemies everything about yourself. Darkness is not evil. Rather, secrets, African people be creating a community of secrets. We won't get attacked. We won't get destroyed, right? Our ability to keep our secrets to ourselves and mind our business, those are dark energies. And that energy is good for us. If we practice light energy, that means everything me and you discuss in so-and-so in a meeting of power, I'm going to go there and ask for the channel camera, say, okay, everybody, I came to tell you guys what we did. That's light energy. You're telling the world what you guys did. But then you'll sabotage you. They will come to sabotage you. So if you don't want to get sabotaged, then learn the art of darkness. Once you learn that art, it is like you're prepared. People can't harm you. People can come and destroy you. Simple as that.
Yes, indeed. Wow. So much knowledge that you have just dropped on us today. We're going to have to be returning to...
We're going to have to do some serious returning.
Yes, indeed. So, Brother Mitri, you came to teach and you certainly did. I want to thank you so much. And we look forward to session number 3. Sister Shanice, out of here for now.